What's going on, Math 1 students? We're back with our 5.4 Ready, Set, Go notes. I believe this is on page 17, if you're following along in your packet. If not, I will also, or I've already provided you with the PDF, hopefully, so that you can be taking notes on this. This one I would consider much simpler than our last video. A little bit less work, a little bit more conceptual in nature. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to evaluate these, I guess we could call them special types of equations, where we just know that x is equal to something, or y is equal to something. Okay, you see there's no mx plus b, there's no ax plus bx is equal to c, sorry, ax plus by is equal to c. It's just a variable equals a number. And so let's take a look at that now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do to kind of think about what's going on here. If our equation is x equals -1, well then guess what the equation is telling me? The only thing that we know is that x is -1. Y might be 0. Well, when x is -1, y might be +2. Okay, -1, y could be +4. When x is -1, y could be -3. Honestly, -1, we could put -1000. All right, what do we notice here? Every single one of our x values is -1. That's the important part, but I don't really like that. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay? Well, when I go to plot some of these, at -1, 0, it's right there. At -1, 2, at -1, 4, at -1, -3, okay, we end up getting all of these points that when we connect them, we get a vertical line, okay? Sorry I didn't plot -1, -1000. That'd be like way off the page, okay? The idea is that when when our equation only has an x variable, we will always get a vertical line. Okay? Well, you guys might already be able to guess then what's going to go on with y, but let's take a look. If y is 4, well then all I know is that y has to be 4. X can be anything, 0. X could be -2. X could be +4. All right. I mean, seriously, it could be anything. So the important thing to note is that when we plot all these points, 0, 4 is right there. -2, 4 is right there. 4, 4 is right there. 7, 4, even a little further right. What's going to happen when we connect our points? We are going to get what we would call a horizontal line. And so that is our big set of notes about an equation that only has a y variable. Okay, so this is something that you should, this exercise that we just did is something that you should keep in mind. Whenever you see x equals, you know it's going to be a vertical line because of this example. Or any example that you could come up with. Anytime you figure out points for an equation when it's just x equals, all of the x values should always stay the same, which will always lead to a vertical line, and then the same thing for y equals. Okay? Now, let's put that to use over here. When we want to write equations of special lines, I kind of think about it like this. To me, I know because this is going up and down, I know this is going to be vertical. And when I come back up, I know that vertical lines have equations that look like x equals. So I know this is going to be an x equals equation. All right? So I'm going to start with that. Now, to figure out what x equals, I would almost go to a table. find some points. What do we notice about all of these points? Let's see. This first point, or the lowest point, is 3, -2. The next point's 3, +1. 3, 3. What are we noticing, excuse me? X is always equal to 3. And so now we know that our equation is x equals 3. You can always also just kind of see that you go to 3. When we look at the next one, it's horizontal, which means I know from my notes above that it's going to be y equals. And now again, to get that value, you can either count how far down you have to go. So in this case, I know it's going to be -3 because I went down -3. The other thing though, and I think this might be even better, if you make a table and you get some points, like this first point right here is at what? 0, -3. If I make another point here, it's at -2, -3. If I make a point over here, it's at 4, -3. And there, again, we see why. Let me go to purple here. A little bigger. We see why anytime y is -3, the equation then would be y equals -3. Okay, so there are your notes for 5.4. I hope it was a nice, easy lesson. Please practice the Ready, Set, Go, and let me know if you have any questions as always. Peace.